Jim, and our next question was sent via the Cult of Cornette Facebook group by Justin Glenn Fallon. What are Jim's thoughts on Dick Slater as a worker? I've been watching a lot of 80s wrestling lately, and in my opinion, he stands out as one of the best workers in that era. Starrcade 1983, he did the best overall work on the card, in my opinion.
Well, Slater was tremendous as a worker. He had the fixation with Terry Funk that we've talked about, where he incorporated so much of Terry's shit into his own. I mean, facial expressions and kind of things in promos, as well as matches, moves, and things that you could have put a mask on him and done some kind of deal. They did that in Knoxville. When Terry Funk was the NWA champion, he was going to come in to defend or whatever, or do something, but they didn't have a video, so they put Funk highlights over the audio of Dick Slater doing an interview as Terry Funk, and nobody knew. But on his own, Slater was a great worker, and he had spent so much time in his early career in Florida and Georgia working with the top guys in the NWA. And he was just a natural. He didn't have a great physique, but he was a tough guy. Who was the football player he knocked out?
Was it Matusik? No, it was, who was it? Fuck, now I'm forgetting who it was.
It was, oh, God damn it. And he got, the guy, he died an early death, not from Slater knocking him out, but he had some other type of health issue or whatever. But point being, in Tampa.
Yeah, it was John Matusik.
Was it? Okay, John Matusik. That's right. But in Tampa, everybody knew about Slater, including the football team. Don't fuck with him. That's why that, not only he did the thing with Sting, where Sting just apparently innocently, who knows, gave Dark Journey a ride to the matches. Next thing he knew, his head was stuck in a toilet. But at the same time, also, Slater developed not a bad reputation, but just not a good reputation in the business for just, I'll leave if I don't like it, or I'll whatever the fuck, or I may just punch somebody. And that's why I was so nervous. He was the booker for Crockett for the Georgia end when the Midnight Express, we first went to work there. And that's why I had to call fucking office on him one time. We're on the Northern Tour in West Virginia and Ohio. And Dusty had given instructions. The Midnight Express goes over every night. Well, it was Saginaw or Lansing or wherever it was. Slater and Buzz Sawyer, they said, well, we're going to go 30 minutes through. For what? Here in front of nobody, right? They didn't want to do the job. So the next day I called the office, talked to Jimmy Crockett, because Dusty was on the road. I said, well, I just want to let you know we didn't go over last night. I'll take care of it. So we get to the town that night. I've got my fucking hot dogs and everything. I sit down in the locker room, and Slater peeks his head in and says, Cornette, can I see you? Like, oh, shit, can I eat my hot dogs first? I was afraid it was going to be my last meal. He said, you may not want to after I finish talking to you. He said, well, you called the office today. I said, Dick, we were told by Dusty Rhodes, who we came here to work for. We went over every night, or were to go over every night, and we didn't. I just needed to relay that information. So, well, they're not telling me what kind of cards they're giving me up here next month. I don't know what's going on. They were phasing the Georgia end out, and him and Buzz and all of that and Roop. And they didn't really want to fucking tell him what was going on till he couldn't bitch about it. So I didn't know whether the, beat us or beat you or whatever. He was bullshit. He just didn't want to do the job. I said, okay, no problems. I got my hot dogs. He didn't beat me up, but he was gone very shortly after, and so was Buzz. And
what happened first? Did that conversation happen first, or Buzz Sawyer storming the room and Dennis reaching for his gun?
Oh, that was back down in Georgia. That was probably a month later that happened. But Buzz was still around, but Slater was gone by then. See, it didn't all happen instantly. They kept Buzz and Brett around till probably about a week after he fucking got mad when he. Does anybody know what we're talking about there? I hate to tell all these stories twice.
You know, I don't know. I always assume they do, and then I feel bad if I ask you something that we've asked, that you've talked about before. It's a great story, so I don't mind you telling it.
Well, I know it's been years since I've told it, but we were in some place in suburban Atlanta, some goddamn dirt floor rodeo barn type of thing for a spot show, and they were about to close up the Georgia towns and take all of us to Charlotte. And as I mentioned, Buzz didn't go along. And we were working with Buzz and his brother Brett, and they were getting the heat on Buzz. And as Bobby drapes him over the ropes, takes the referee, so I go over and choke him with the tennis racket in a working way. And a minute later, he's in the same place. Bobby takes the referee. I think he wants me to get a little more heat, so I go over there. And besides the fact that, again, Dusty had said, we've just been there for 6 weeks or whatever. Nobody touches Cornette. Well, it's a fucking rodeo barn in front of 500 people in a goddamn shithole in Georgia. I don't care. I'll work with you. But when I walked up, he fucking open-handed slapped me in the front of the face. Right on the nose. Bam! Nose starts bleeding. I'm like, what the fuck? I got pissed. I took the racket, turned it to the side, and used the edge. And Buzz Sawyer was noted for when you would give him a post into the ring post, he would actually run his own head into the metal ring post hard enough where you could hear it thud. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well, I decided to see how hard that fucking head was. You slapped me right flat in the face, motherfucker. So I took the edge of the racket. I crowned him right in the forehead about 3 or 4 times. And he starts growling and leaning over that bottom rope and coming out and reaching for me. But Bobby's got a hold of his legs. And he can't. And it's right in the middle of the heat, right? Bobby pulls him back in and they keep getting the heat on him. And I'm fucking feeling my nose and he ain't happy. And they ain't going to let him get another chance at me. So they finish the fucking match. So we go back in the locker rooms were trailers like Winnebagos in this place. It was more an outdoor horse thing with a cover than it was a building. And so me and Bobby and Dennis and the referee, what was it? Who was it then? Good Lord.
It was Georgia.
Mike.
Yeah.
It might have been Mike Fever, though, referee in a spot show. I don't know. But anyhow, we're sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck is with this fucking guy? And we hear whoom, whoom, whoom. But apparently Buzz has stormed out of the babyface locker room. And as he comes in, tries to come into our trailer, he pulls that Winnebago door open and just pulls it off the hinges. It just is flimsy anyway. And he gets flummoxed coming up on the block of wood they put to step up into this thing. And he comes in this goddamn room and he, what the fuck are you doing? Hit me like a mark. Because he knew I had the fucking edge of it, right? I said, what the fuck are you doing? Hit me like a fucking mark. And as he's starting to yell, Dennis Condrey is over in the side with his hand right down in his bag because he's like, this fucking mental lunatic. We didn't like him anyway. Most people didn't. He took advantage of the job guy. He would come to TV, Atlanta TV on Saturday mornings after having probably never even been to sleep. And he'd say, I forgot my bag. And he would borrow tights and boots from the job guys and then leave after TV still wearing them. And the guys that might only have one set of tights or one boots, they're scared to ask him for them back. Fucking prick.
You know, it's so interesting you said that. I never even thought about it, but there are times you see him on Georgia Championship Wrestling and he's wearing an outfit you never saw him wear before.
Yeah. And I mean, besides the people that he took money from to try to train him to wrestle in his latter days of his career when he'd burnt all of his bridges, and Magnum and all those fucking people.
Yeah, Magnum would never take anyone's money.
Well, but I'm saying back then, but he was a prick. He was an asshole. He was a loose nut. And he died on his fucking porch of a drug overdose because he was a fucking irresponsible asshole. But nevertheless, back to this. So Dennis has his hand in the bag and he just screaming. And I'm standing there like, well, there's 4 of us and I know Dennis is armed. So I believe it's about even if this motherfucker goes off. And he just screamed and slobbered like he did on his promos about how I'd fucking hit him in the head. And then he left and took the door the rest of the way off. And I think that was probably the last week he was around. We might have seen him one or two times after that. But fuck him.
You want to talk about a crazy buddy film of epic proportions? Goes to Mid-South, where Slater becomes the booker somehow. And he's booking for Bill Watts. And at this point in time, he's wearing a fedora. Like, Slater's dressing nice for Slater. Yeah. So he's riding around with himself, Buzz Sawyer, and Dark Journey. Like, what a fucking combo that must have been on the road.
And we were talking about Slater when we got sidetracked on Buzz, but Slater was a tremendous worker, and he could have an NWA World Heavyweight title match with any champion, and it would be impeccable. And he could talk, and he had that fucking oomph to him, but he got weirder as he got older. Wasn't he I hate to accuse people of things, but was he the guy I'm thinking about that got in some kind of legitimate legal trouble after his wrestling days? Where he fucked with somebody or fucked him up bad?
I don't remember the exact details, but I remember seeing mugshots. That's the only reason why I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after Mid-South, it becomes the rebel Dick Slater in WWF, and his career never recovered from that.
But he and Bob Orton Jr. were
94. I was there.
Well, no, but he and Bob Orton Jr. in 82, 83, or what was it, 81, 82, 83 in the Carolinas were probably the best in-ring heel team in the business. And I researched a couple of their things for the Midnight Express, and then that's why I had them at the Night of Legends. Slater and Orton were a phenomenal team, and to work the Legends match with Ronnie Garvin and the Stomper. If Mac McMurray, the legend referee, hadn't fucked up and seen the last false tag, it would have been even better, but that was the best work match of the night.
No, that match was so much fun. It was like a big surprise that night in the building.
It was a 1977 main event fucking Southern tag team match. And it was flawless until, as I said, the referee fucked it up at the end. But they were a wonderful tag team. But yeah, Slater had issues outside the ring on several occasions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will return after this short commercial timeout.